It's about time the government took action. It was now half a year ago that they were forced into announcing an inquiry into the rape gang scandal. They didn't want to do it. They were dragged kicking and screaming. And here we are half a year later, and they've done absolutely nothing at all, which makes them, in my view, complicit in the cover-up of these awful crimes, where young, mainly white girls were systematically raped by men of mainly Pakistani origin, and that was covered up deliberately by those in authority because they were more concerned about so-called community relations than they were about protecting girls. We need this inquiry to get to the truth. The government has done nothing in the last half year, so we have developed our own terms of reference for the inquiry. We've done that together with survivors and their families to show that it can be done, and the government now needs to get on with this and have the inquiry instead of dragging their feet, which is what they're doing, making them, as I say, complicit in the cover-up. I mean, as long ago as I think it was about 2012, a former Labour MP, Simon Danchuk, was told by the then chair of the Parliamentary Labour Party to stop asking questions about this issue because they were concerned about upsetting people in the Pakistani origin community in Manchester. Maybe that gives a bit of a clue. That happened over 10 years ago, but what we see now is the Labour Party still dragging their feet over this. When Kemi and I first called for this inquiry back in January, Keir Starmer smeared us both as jumping on a far-right bandwagon just for calling for the inquiry. Then a few months later, he was forced into a U-turn when faced with a vote in Parliament 2 days later. But here we are, 6 months later, they've done nothing, and the victims and survivors that we're talking to feel very, very let down by the government.
What I'm
they feel like the government is not on their side, not helping them.
Is there a political aspect to this? Is this costing them votes? Is there something happening somewhere that we are immune to, that we don't realise what is going on? What is going on?
Well, that's a question the Labour Party have to answer, but it's pretty clear to me they are not moving this forward. They're dragging their feet. They've done nothing in the last 6 months. They don't seem to care about this issue. Frankly, the Labour Party would rather this issue goes away, I think, because they don't want to talk about the fact that the perpetrators of these evil crimes committed against young girls were committed mainly by men of Pakistani heritage. It seems like the government don't want to address that issue or the fact these terrible crimes were covered up. We need to get to the truth, and that's why we called for the inquiry, and now that's why we're publishing our own terms of reference, which we've developed with victims and with survivors, because this cover-up cannot go on any longer.